Hi, I'm Rama, and it is with Zola that I continue with you this series, the BUMUNTU. So today, I suggest you sit comfortably because our program is quite heavy. By the way, for you, my English followers, much of this research has been done within the Francophone context. So for now, I thank you for your understanding as you try and access these findings within the English context, for they are also available there. All right? Okay. Also, the images used here are also taken from the French context, but you can find their equivalents in the Anglophone context as well. All right? Okay. We have loads to cover now, so brace yourselves, and here we go. Now check this, screen share. I'm going to type in Google, follow me carefully, right, dear Pengi? I'm going to type in the search bar, scientific researchers are false, and then I'm adding the word Canada. Here's what comes out. So here we're in Canada, for example, and I type, scientific researchers are false. You following me, right? And I focus my search on Canada. And you have what is called the Canadian press. So on July 5th, 2018, the Canadian press, yes, the Canadian press, not the Senegalese press, but the Canadian press. Why am I insisting on this? Because we assume that people are checking the information. Okay, so the Canadian press published, I cite, most scientific studies are false. The shock warning of a researcher. The article was published, it moved, that is to say it moved and it was hot. Many other newspapers from all over the world have published on this topic, like the Boston Globe in the United States or the Guardians in England. I hope you realize what this means, dear Pengi. In fact, Westerners in 2018 are doing studies to show that 98% of scientific researchers are false. They even showed that falsified papers had been done and they published them, and then they said, oh, our papers were falsified. But hey, it was already published. Now, let's take a closer look at this article. It says, a few years ago, two researchers selected the 50 most commonly used ingredients in a cookbook and looked at how many had been associated with the risk of benefits for cancer. In various studies published in scientific journals and so on, the argument, for example, they show that big pharma, agribusiness companies pay scientists in renowned universities to write articles that are false. Well, yes, my dear Pengi, it's mind-boggling. Imagine our dear mothers here in Senegal, all over the continent, throughout the diaspora. They have no idea about that. Our dear mothers here in Senegal, for instance, do they have a clue about this? All right, a scientific journal trapped by false study on cancer, dear Pengi. False studies loaded with sheer nonsense. Yes, fake studies published and studied, dear Pengi. Oh, here, alert. This is Le Monde, a French magazine. Alert to a global false science. Dozens of scientific journals produce and publish unscrupulous studies that feed databases used by experts for the basis of their work. Whew. Okay, so the article said, all right, but what tells you that's even right? They themselves are losing their minds trying today to scientifically demonstrate. Yes, scientifically. But science, dear Pengi, it's a belief. If it was a Senegalese newspaper, for instance, that dared to have such front page, oh my, people would say whatever, nonsense. Well, dear Pengi, so it's no nonsense because it's the journal Le Monde that says it? All right, moving on. According to one study, most scientific researchers are false. You love to read scientific articles, reporting studies, or even you dive directly into the same analysis? Well, massa like they say back home, or even yako from Ivory Coast. All right, here, a doctor whose specialty is, get this, evaluating studies, so he studies studies, whether they are right or not, thinks that most researches that have been done are either wrong or irrelevant. And he goes further. He's a doctor at Stanford University, one of the best universities in the US, not to say the world. So this gentleman tells us, let's read this together. Recently for the AFP, the Agence France-Presse, the doctor estimated that the majority of published articles were bad, even if they were likely to appear in serious scientific reviews. Why am I showing you this? Well, you see why I cannot accept everything that is said. Yes, dear Pengi, you cannot come and tell me, so and so said and Rama is going to believe. No. You cannot come and tell me things that make no sense because I'm going to check. I'm doing research. And I know that 98% of the articles published are false. Well, yes, dear Pengi, I'm not talking about myth here. I'm telling you about things. They tell you it's this way and then tomorrow, oh no, it's that way. Oops, we were totally wrong. No, what is this? Not only that, these researchers have managed to publish totally absurd studies in prestigious scientific journals. Their goal is to show that you can publish anything in certain fields as long as you are politically popular enough, and so on. The article is published and they explain the scam. Everybody took their article. Everybody said, oh yes, the cancer this, the cancer that, the disease, blah, 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 blah. And then we repeat stupidly because it is scientific. Well, it's false. And don't forget that when you take what is false and that you connect to it, you're connecting to the antipode of math, which is Isefet. Because right now, Pengi, Isefet is playing big time. All right? The problem is in repeating so-called scientific discoveries, which on top of it are not true. I mean, do you realize the danger? And journalists. Oh, these ones. Well, let's look at this. Science and Future. Here, a magazine that publishes every month, every winter. Read with me. Journalists trick a scientific magazine with a false study on cancer. No, seriously? Yes, seriously. They're playing with us. Yes, they are. A publication accepted in less than 10 days. Published on cancer, and in the meantime, people are dying every day. VIP scammers gambling on the lives of others. Pengis, there are experimental methods that have nothing to do with scientific methods. The tradition, our tradition teaches us malembe. Slow down, Pangi. You who are from the Kimuntu school, you can never accept an information if you haven't checked that information to start with. That's why soon we will precisely start the BUMUNTU. Because I suppose that with the last episodes that I offered these past weeks, you, my Pengi, who listen to me, you understand we have crazy work to do on critical minding, crazy work. So see you next week for more. I'm Rama, speaking to you from the land of our ancestors, all the way in Senegal. Listen to the voice of Africa. 𝘲𝘶𝘪𝘵, Matondo, and see you next time. Zola.